Up next, for Paramount Pictures' future head of video games, is Andrew Prell. And he and I on this Zoom call talk about us making the sequel to They Live with an entire IP ecosystem built around it, which also Jim Kruger, head of graphic novels and publishing, and one of the geniuses in advertising, is also going to oversee. Oh, man. Prell, you're a godsend, bro. Thank you for your patience. And I don't have a shirt on because it's been 90 degrees. It's actually getting colder. So hang on, let me put on a top since I've been in this Florida RV heat. Hang on one second. And then we're gonna dive into this. And this is a one-on-one discussion about what we're gonna do in video games. And this is part of the 24-hour They Live inspired quiet storming of the TV station to give an ongoing walking account of Big Picture World Group finding justice and literally producing it for the world to see. As I said in front of Madison Square Garden was going to happen. And I say that humbly because this is about the collective work of everybody being seen because we all worked way too hard not to be. And I've already got everything structured as it relates to land ownership. And now we own and are partners to own forever and build all across the United States and world drive-in theaters, specifically the one here in my hometown that I bought to give ownership in to RZA, Quentin Tarantino, other members of the Wu-Tang Clan, and all artists as a whole because of how I'm going to structure the ownership group. And then I came up with the idea, with help from Danny Falcone, amongst others, to set up the film studio as a nonprofit, which means nobody can ever make money, but the artists all get paid, and the management fees to run it are a very small percentage that go to all the artists to collectively progress it all forward. And then it's rooted in an ad agency, also owned by the artists, which is corporate, but not run like one. And last time I checked, ad revenue makes up a lot on streaming platforms. And we have the biggest ecosystem in the world to produce commercials, including the Coca-Cola campaign that I've been doing without having Coca-Cola on board. And quite frankly, when they see this launch and what we put together, pretty sure we'll be meeting with them to finally move everything fully forward based on the land that we own that are all going to have massive LED advertisements everywhere. So We're done, Pro, and I want to give you some time to talk about who you are, where you come from, your background in video games, because we finally have a slate of games, and it's not going to be a problem moving forward to do any of this. Our partner, Carl Reed at Composition Media, he won an Oscar for Hair Love, and, well, he also makes video games and writes them too, and he's already been working on a video game for They Live for almost a year, because I got the vision for what was going to happen with all this. This They Live stuff and walking into this and connecting all this together started last February 13th. And it has culminated this week into Memorial Day. By the time people watch this conversation with you and I, it'll be part of a 24/7 live stream. And it will be very meta because the stuff that we are talking about will now be pieces being programmed into what will be a new industry moving forward, because of owning the brand of Canyon Country Store and owning Love Street and connecting Sydney, who built all this, and her legacy to Jim Morrison, and then us taking art all around the world and building connected to the cultures of each one of those places on a global scale. So that's what this was, and I had to show the world where I come from, and by saying I had to show, God had to show, because I didn't even plan any of this. It just all kind of happened. At least what I have filmed to put out in the world. And then I was always planning this broadcast that we're doing. But so it's the whole journey, Pro. It's the Zoom call with Piney Woods. It's the Zooms with Will Crossley. It's a whole lot of people, a lot more powerful than the Ellisons because of their relationships that money cannot buy. And I beat the video game of life, Mr. Andrew Pro.
So you want me to just go over my background and let everybody know what where I've come from and what I've been doing?
Yep, and what you've been working on to pioneer some of the spaces that we're now entering in together. and that we're also going to have a ranch. Don't disclose it yet, where, but talk about some of the plans for that and the incubator vibes behind that. And then obviously we're going to have an e-commerce business, but also an esports business. And our esports business is made up of TikTok influencers with a lot of followers, a current upcoming NBA, hopefully lottery pick. By the time this launches, it might help with that even more because he's already one of the best in the draft, in my opinion. And I tend to know a thing or two about talent. Just talk about what we're doing and the plans for the verticals that you brought into this amazing ecosystem vision that we've been at since you picked me up the night that I had a bullet fired out my head. And I totally forgive that person too. You see, I faced all my trauma. So now I want to set on a stage and nothing but peace, love, kindness, and forgiveness. Forgive those people, have a conversation about everything very cordially, to talk about traumas that kids go through that basically shape lives at points to be reactionary in other ways. I'm making all this positive, but people are going to think it's negative up front, but it's not. And you see, it's all about the intentions. And I can't do anything negative anymore. I only walk in positive. Otherwise, my energy doesn't connect with it. So, Prell, man, you are the video game creator, and the
Well,
closest thing.
I've
Go
been
for it.
been creating video games since I was 12. Got involved in virtual reality back in 1988 by Autodesk. And left them roughly in 91, formed a company where we did it was alternate worlds technology. We created Wolfenstein VR. So it was the US's first virtual reality arcade system, second one in the world to virtuality out of England, or W Industries, as people know. And that got me into the video game industry. I uh, met a gentleman by the name of Frank Ballou, who started at Atari in year one and helped found the first two industry organizations for video games. He took me under his wing, introduced me to the movers and shakers in the industry, and effectively, we worked on several projects together over the years. But we came together with most of the power players in the industry, like Bernie Stoller, the late Bernie Stoller. He unfortunately passed back in June of 2022. But he was the president of Atari, president of Mattel Interactive, president of Sega, a guy that basically created the Dreamcast. Talking Kevin Williams, who created Disney Quest, David Bishop, who was the chief operating officer of Bandai Namco USA, Paul Baker, who was on the team of 26 of the top selling AAA titles in the world, Ron Miners, one of our founders. He learned basically how to manage large communities through Burning Man, and he took that knowledge over to help manage the online community of Sims. So we definitely know how to deal with large groups in that. But we came together because we realized that it was time to shake up the whole video game industry. So we came to reimagine the entire video game industry, both the consumer side and the out of home entertainment side, and kind of how it's swallowing the whole entertainment industry. And I say that because a lot of the new cross media plays out there, or what they're calling shared media, is run off of like Unreal Engine. Um, Things like Cosm and the Sphere and things like that are all run off of Unreal Engine. And a lot of the movies that are all the special effects out there in the movies are blending over to Unreal Engine, which is meant to be more live interactive than just display. And that's kind of where we're going with all of this. So our first product that we've come up and tested and moving out there is a player acquisition engine, where we have figured out how to remove customer acquisition costs from consumer games. Then that gets us hundreds of millions of players into our back end, and then we can step that up to our augmented reality app that is meant to interact with all other devices as well. So full cross-platform, cross-reality type stuff is where we're going with this. And what we can do with those people is we can drive them to physical locations and engage them with physical locations in something that's similar to like a Pokemon Go married to a World of Warcraft. I won't go into too much detail there. Then the next phase with that is to use that as the fan engagement tool in all the auditoriums and stadiums around the world, um, to where everybody can get engaged with what was going on far more than anybody has done it in the past. So kind of think of, if you took um, the Travis Scott Fortnite concert, took it to have it inside the Sphere, only the entire audience of like 15,000 people can engage with them, plus each one of the people in the stands at the Sphere, the 15,000 there, would have a team connected to them outside of the Sphere. So you would have effectively a 15,000 team raid, where they're all trying to compete to see who can keep their team leader alive and get the you know win the overall day, so to speak. And those are kind of some of the things that we're pulling together with the technology that's coming to be, because we're seeing that things like the Sphere, they're using that $2.3 billion game peripheral as a passive TV, effectively, where it should be interactive with the players. And that's what we're all about, is connectivity and interactive gameplay.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
yeah.
Prell, will you talk a little bit about the ranch?
Okay. So, we're looking to set up this game studio here in Las Vegas that is, where we'll set up and have mini dome and things like that, so we can put all of our technology into practice and get all the best, um, be able to test it all before you put it out there, obviously. But we also want to use it as an incubator for young startup game companies, people that have great visions, great ideas that haven't been able to get funding before. We can help them grow their game, their vision, teach them what works in the business side, help take over some of the business side for them, and then get them you know able to compete with the AAA game networks. Because that's one of the things that our player acquisition engine does, is it kind of balances the playing field between the indie startups and the AAA games, because you might be able to get 3, 4, 5, 10 million to put your game out there, but do you really have 150 million, 200, 400, 500 million to have it compete with the AAA games? And that's the big stumbling block of most indie games, is they might have a really cool game, but they can't get enough traction to survive. And what we boil that down to is, can they put out a, a 15 to 30-second sexy sizzle reel that grabs people's attention? If they can do that as good as the AAA game studios, and most of them can, then they'll get the customers on an equal playing field that would cost them just objects from their game instead of a marketing spend.
Did you talk about your background in augmented reality and VR?
Virtual reality. I started out
Okay.
talking about,
I want to make
I've been in
sure.
it since 1988. We started out with Autodesk and created the first U.S. manufactured virtual reality arcade system. I created Wolfenstein VR, networked it, making it multiplayer, created CyberTag. John Carmack and Jay Wilbur came to our studios, got in it, wouldn't get out for like 4 hours. And I taught them how to make, their Wolfenstein code networkable, and they went back and wrote Doom. So
So,
I've
and I'm
been
just
following VR and in VR and creating virtual reality and augmented reality, cross reality stuff since, effectively 1988.
awesome. So since I've talked to you about it a few times, because Larry, who believed in me and helped me do all this, and specifically helped us get the partnership in place with Pineywood School, I didn't realize that was completing a level that he and I were on from literally day one when we met. Um, they live, and this IP lookbook that I've been developing for it with A-list comic individuals who are at the top of what they do, and obviously you in games. Will you talk some about what we've been talking about as it relates to They Live game, utilizing what is the Ray-Ban meta technology and creating an experience almost similar to what Pokemon Go was, but for a real life amount of money treasure hunt every year on Easter Sunday, and kind of how that could roll out as it relates to rebooting that franchise and connecting a game to what would be the IP of the movie.
Well, hopefully, most people who are watching this have seen They Live. It's kind of iconic. Basically, to give a very simple layman's term, they had the special sunglasses that would show
Spiritual
you
awakening.
that was basically an awakening. You could see with their special glasses, you could see who the aliens were, how they were masked up, and then all the propaganda that was around you. So that's a great IP to pull into augmented virtual reality world, because effectively you're looking through your lens at the other dimension, or the other side of the veil of what's really there, and all of that comes over into augmented reality perfectly. I mean, it's like the movie was made for augmented reality years ago, and we can take a lot of the concepts from there and expand on them, as
You
you
know,
will do.
it's funny
Um,
that you'd say that, because there's that scene where they walk in towards the end of the movie and the convention's going on, right? And they're in that ballroom. And the microphone, the person with it literally says, by the year 2025. And it goes into the scene. And I mean, that's now, dude. We're in 2020 or 2025. And
and
it's
it's
crazy,
happening.
man.
It
I
is.
mean, literally, this broadcast, the whole kind of path for this, it was a lot of they live moments in real life. But keep going, pro, because
Yeah, but
you're
basically,
on to the meat and
I won't get
potatoes.
into too many elements of the game, but effectively, you'll be able to go out in your backyard, in your neighborhood, in the local mall, whatever, um, hunt down and battle to find, you know, it's a good mixture of geocaching
Do you know?
with
Do you know?
World of Warcraft kind of thing. We'll send you on quests
Yep. So
that
let me talk about that, because you're
okay.
kicking points to me for what we've been talking about on this conversation. The quest to find the money, just like I had to go on to do all of this, because I've documented everything. You see, I was documenting an account to ultimately put together in the They Live game, because I said I felt like I lived the movie in real life. So that's what the game is, utilizing the Ray-Ban glasses. Bruce Chang and I walked a lot of this, as did Sydney and I. I'm going to make everybody walk back through our collective path, because I'm going to get this IP, and that's going to be the game. And on Easter Sunday, because Jerry Easter believed in Sydney and I doing this, we're going to do an Easter egg hunt, but They Live style. And I'm going to have a budget for this, because we're going to bring funding to literally partner with Universal, Sony, whoever the hell has the rights. That's up for question and debate too. But we're going to fund the movie, and I'm going to direct it with a team that I've already staffed of writers on a Marvel writers room type level. And we've created an entire IP universe around it, from comics to games to merch to books to an animated series that would literally star Nada. So I tapped in, man, to some stuff on this, because again, custodians of legacies. Larry was the sole producer of that movie. It says a Larry J. Franco production. That is one of my family members. And I mean that because he is family to me, man. Larry was the biggest producer in the world that I met at that point in time, that said, yo, I'll show up for you for anything you need. And by God, has he. So that's what I want to do, Pro. I want to literally take everybody back through the path, because everybody needs to see how insanely insane this walk was to get to this phone call amongst all the others I've had. I mean, you literally, that's how you and I met, Pro. And so I've lived a video game and nobody could tell me that I haven't because it was my life and I walked it. I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong because these are memories for a lifetime now. So I'm talking about them. Anyways, so
Well, I look forward to it. Look forward to
can but
getting
Prell,
to work on it. So
we can make that happen. Yes, basically that's not impossible by any means to do. It's all just utilizing technology that already exists, but creating a story behind what that would be.
oh, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like the movie industry. You know, it's like cameras have been around since the 1920s, but there's only a few really awesome movies out there and a bunch of really good ones.
Yep.
They're all different.
Exactly. Sorry, I think Tori, hang on. Thank you. Hop on in. Um, sorry, hang on. So you guys, I put you and him on that text. I want Tori to talk about his game, Peace Waging Gangsters, because I just want to get this is an introduction of some of the IP. He's not here yet, Pro. But this is
Okay.
an introduction of some of the IP. Um, since we're spread out at the moment, keyword being at the moment. So we can activate and launch all this because it's ready. It's time that the world finally sees it. And quite frankly, I got led by the creator of the matrix that we live in called Earth, our God, finally connected the path together to literally do it. So it's happening. That's what this is for. This is part of that broadcast.
Mhm.
But Prell, is there anything else you want to dive into or get into while we wait for Tori?
No, I mean that's I don't know what you want me to disclose out to the public and what to keep under wraps. I'd like to
Bro,
keep
you
most
can
of it up under wraps for to keep the shock value and the games coming. I like to keep some mystery there. Hate
I get
exposing
it.
everything up front.
I get it, but this is all about literally showing the cards finally because not one person controls or owns them. It's a collective mindset
Oh, exactly.
that's put all the IP together. So, and now we're going to do this telethon. That's something that I need to talk to you about too. Um, we're going to have some specific meetings about that after I get this out to the world between now and next weekend with the parties to be that control those IPs involved in those conversations. But yeah, man, I recorded a speech last night that wraps up the end of what I was called to make here at home. And hopefully it's going to get some film studios to step up. If they say anything really negative, how can they say anything negative about somebody trying to give back to literally the earth that we live in? But people do that every day, but not in this manner. And I'm not doing any of this for fame. I'm shining a big, bright spotlight on things that need to be addressed in our society. And quite frankly, I'm back home and I know I've connected real estate money together in a major way, separate from anything in the film business. That I'm home, man. I got peace here. So you see, I relinquished everything and only feared God and being led to the place that I'm in to where it all finally materialized forward. So, Prell, thanks for writing this out. I'm gonna just call Tori on the phone and then get on a Zoom call with him, and we'll get you guys connected here after we get all this rolling over the next 2 days.
Sounds awesome. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.